Mia, a small girl, standing barely 40 meters tall with a slender figure and a youthful face that appeared to be no older than 10, was in a distressing state. She wore a simple white dress, and her large, round eyes reflected pain and fear. Her swollen abdomen contrasted sharply with her small body. Beside her, Liam, a man whose face was marked by anguish and worry, ran into the hospital carrying the girl in his arms, shouting desperately, "Doctor, please, she's about to give birth!" Liam's shouts echoed down the hospital corridors, attracting the attention of everyone present. The nurses, shocked, rushed towards them, while patients and their companions watched the scene with astonishment and concern. "What's happening?" asked one of the nurses, trying to maintain her composure as she approached the couple. Seeing Mia's condition, her professionalism struggled against the indignation she felt inside. "She's in labor," exclaimed Liam, his voice breaking with desperation. "Please, we need help." Without a second's delay, the nurse called over the intercom. "We need a stretcher at the main entrance. Quickly." While waiting for the stretcher, the nurse tried to comfort Mia, who could barely stay conscious from the pain. "Hang in there, little one. We're going to help you," she said gently, though inside, indignation and confusion grew. How could such a young girl be in this state? When the stretcher arrived, they carefully placed Mia on it and quickly wheeled her towards the emergency room. Liam tried to follow, but another nurse stopped him. "I'm sorry, sir, but you have to stay here," she said firmly, though with compassion. "We'll take care of her. We need to know what happened." Liam nodded, his face a mixture of anguish and despair. She's my responsibility," he murmured, his words almost choked by the weight of the situation. "I can't leave her alone." In the emergency room, the doctors and nurses worked frantically to stabilize Mia. The on-duty doctor, a man with years of experience, had never seen anything like this. As he washed his hands, his thoughts returned to the moment his shift began, thinking it would be a quiet day. What kind of monster would do this? He muttered to himself, the indignation clearly visible in his eyes. She's just a child. Meanwhile, in the waiting room, murmurs turned into whispers and then into audible conversations as those present tried to understand what they had witnessed. "Did you see that girl? She can't be older than 10, remarked a pregnant woman, her face pale with disbelief. "And the man who was with her," added another, with a tone of disapproval. "He must be the one responsible. How could anyone do something so horrible?" "He must be a pervert," whispered another, his voice full of disgust. "He should be in jail for what he did." Amid the growing tension, Liam sat in a corner, his head in his hands, trying to block out the biting comments surrounding him. He knew he couldn't let others' words affect him. The most important thing was Mia's health. In the operating room, the doctor approached Mia, trying to offer her some comfort before she went under anesthesia. "I'll do everything in my power to make sure you're okay," he said, a fierce determination in his voice. As they began the procedure, the medical team prepared for the unexpected. Nurses came and went, bringing supplies and trying not to look at the man waiting for news outside. Their thoughts were with the girl on the operating table, and one question echoed in their minds. How had she ended up in this situation? Time seemed to stand still as the hospital was enveloped in an atmosphere of tension and expectation. Outside, the murmurs continued, filling the air with a mix of indignation and morbid curiosity. But at the heart of the drama, there was only a girl and the medical team fighting for her life and that of her child. Outside the emergency room, the atmosphere was charged with a tension and murmurs. Liam Jones sat in one of the hallway chairs, his face buried in his hands, sobbing quietly as worry consumed him. Mia had been rushed in to give birth, and the uncertainty about her condition tortured him. Around him, the murmurs began to rise. First, they were discreet whispers, but soon they turned into audible and judgmental conversations. "Did you see that girl? She can't be older than 10 years, murmured a woman to her companion, her eyes filled with disbelief. "And the man who was with her," responded another, with a disdainful tone. "What kind of monster would do something like that?" "He must be a pervert," added someone else, whispering with disgust. "He should be in jail for what he's done to that poor girl." Liam lifted his head, his eyes red and swollen from tears. He tried to ignore the comments, but every word felt like a dagger piercing his heart. He knew he couldn't change others' perceptions at that moment, but the uncertainty about Mia's condition consumed him inside. "We have to call the police," exclaimed a voice from the back of the room. "We can't let something like this go unchecked." A nurse, who had been observing the scene with a mixture of indignation and professionalism, approached Liam. "Sir, we need you to tell us exactly what happened," she said, her tone firm but not without a touch of compassion. Liam looked at her with desperation. "Mia, she needs help. That's all that matters now," he responded, his voice breaking. The nurse nodded, understanding that she wouldn't get much more from him in this state. "We'll do everything we can for her," she said, trying to reassure him. Meanwhile, an older woman with a furrowed brow and crossed arms could no longer contain her indignation. "It's a disgrace! That man should be locked up!" she shouted, directing her anger towards Liam. "Yes, we can't allow someone like that to be free," agreed another, as more people joined in the chorus of condemnation. "Please, everyone, calm down," intervened one of the head nurses, trying to maintain order. "We are in a hospital, and we need to focus on caring for our patients." "But we can't ignore what's happening," replied a young woman, looking at Liam with disdain. "How can someone do something so horrible?" The waiting room filled with murmurs of agreement, as some were already pulling out their phones to call the police. The tension became almost unbearable, and Liam, feeling cornered, simply closed his eyes, trying to block everything out around him. Suddenly, a tall and burly man stood up from his seat and approached Liam with determined steps. Without a word, he grabbed Liam by the collar and lifted him from the chair. "You're a miserable person," shouted the man, his face red with anger. "How could you do this to a child?" Liam, surprised and scared, raised his hands in surrender. "No, wait, you don't understand," he tried to explain, his voice trembling. "There's nothing to understand," retorted the man, tightening his grip. "You're a monster, and you need to pay for this." The situation was about to spiral out of control when a nurse ran towards them and tried to separate the man from Liam. "Stop! Let him go!" she shouted, putting her body between them. "We've already called the police. They will handle this." The man released Liam with a push, causing him to fall back into the chair. The nurse quickly ensured Liam was okay before turning to the enraged man. "I understand your anger, but we can't allow violence here. Let the authorities handle this." Liam, breathing heavily, remained seated, trying to calm himself. He knew he couldn't do anything to change others' perceptions at that moment, but he had to stay calm for Mia's sake. A few minutes later, 2 police officers entered the room, responding to the multiple reports. They headed straight to Liam, their expressions serious and professional. "Sir, we need you to come with us," said one of the officers, placing a firm but not aggressive hand on Liam's shoulder. "But, Mia, she's—" Liam tried to protest, but his voice broke again. "We'll investigate what's going on here," assured the other officer. "But we need you to come with us to clarify some details." With a heavy heart and a mind clouded with worry, Liam stood up and followed the officers while the murmurs and judgmental looks continued around him. He knew he had to explain the truth, but at that moment, all he could think about was Mia's safety, desperately hoping the doctors could save her. The walk to the police car was a walk of humiliation. Every step echoed in Liam's mind, reminding him of the gravity of the situation. The whispers and disdainful looks of those present were like poisoned arrows piercing his soul. Once at the police station, Liam was led to an interrogation room. The room was cold and sterile, with grey walls and a softly buzzing fluorescent light. The metal table and uncomfortable chairs only heightened the sense of isolation and despair. "Sit down," ordered one of the detectives, gesturing to the chair across from him. Liam obeyed, feeling the handcuffs bite into his wrists. "I'm Detective Parker, and this is Detective Davis," the man said, opening a thick file. "We've received reports suggesting you've committed a very serious crime. We want to hear your side of the story." Liam took a deep breath. "Mia is not a child," he began, his voice firm yet laden with emotion. "She's my wife. She's 25 years old, but she has a rare medical condition that makes her look much younger." The detectives exchanged glances, their faces expressionless. "Do you expect us to believe that?" asked Davis with a skeptical tone. "It sounds like a convenient excuse." "It's not an excuse," insisted Liam. "We can provide medical documents to prove it. She has been diagnosed with a pituitary gland dysfunction, which affects her growth." Parker leaned forward, his expression stern. "Then why hasn't anyone heard about this condition before? And why has no one else confirmed your story?" "We'll need more than just your word," said Davis, crossing his arms. "The situation looks very different from where we're sitting." The interrogation room door suddenly opened, and a determined-looking lawyer walked in. "I'm Liam Jones's lawyer," he announced. "I demand to speak with my client privately." The detectives reluctantly left the room, leaving Liam and his lawyer alone. The lawyer, Mr. Williams, sat across from Liam, his expression showing a mix of concern and determination. "Liam, I've spoken with Mia," Mr. Williams said. "She's fine, and she's doing everything she can to resolve this. But you need to stay calm and trust that we'll clear things up." "Thank you," Liam whispered, feeling a wave of relief. "This is a horrible misunderstanding." "I know," Mr. Williams replied, "but we need to prove it with evidence. I'm working on getting Mia's medical documents and contacting her doctor." When the detectives returned, Mr. Williams stood up. "My apologies, detectives, but my client is entitled to a fair defense. Here are the preliminary documents proving Mia's condition." Parker took the documents, examining them closely. "This is just the beginning," he said in a stern voice. "We need to verify every detail. Until then, Mr. Jones will remain in custody." "This is unfair," protested Liam, feeling desperation creep over his skin. "Mia needs my support, and I am also a victim of this situation." "I understand," said Davis, though his tone remained skeptical. "But until we can confirm everything, we have to proceed cautiously." The following hours were a mix of uncertainty and agonizing waiting. Liam was taken to a cell where time seemed to stand still. Thoughts swirled in his mind like a tornado, reminding him of every happy moment with Mia and the harsh reality they now faced. the hospital was engulfed in an atmosphere of emergency as Mia Walker, the young girl with a childlike appearance but a noticeably swollen abdomen, was quickly taken to the delivery room. The situation was so unusual that everyone in the hospital couldn't help but whisper among themselves, filled with disbelief and concern. Dr. Carter, the lead doctor on duty that night, hurried towards the delivery room, his mind racing with thoughts. How is this possible? He wondered repeatedly. He had seen unusual cases throughout his career, but this was something entirely new. "Prepare everything for an emergency cesarean," Dr. Carter ordered as he entered the delivery room. The nurses and assistants moved efficiently, preparing the surgical equipment and ensuring Mia was ready for the procedure. Mia lay on the stretcher, her eyes closed, and her face pale with pain and exhaustion. Despite her fragile appearance, her body showed all the signs of being in advanced labor. "Doctor, her vital signs are stable," reported one of the nurses, breaking the tense silence. Dr. Carter nodded, putting on his surgical gloves. "All right, let's begin." As he made the first incision, Dr. Carter couldn't help but notice the details. Mia's internal organs appeared fully developed and in perfect condition. Her uterus and ovaries were those of an adult woman, not a child. "This is incredible," he murmured to himself, but his comment did not go unnoticed by the rest of the team. "What's going on, doctor?" asked the head nurse, Mrs. Collins, with a mix of curiosity and concern in her voice. Dr. Carter looked up, his eyes filled with astonishment. "This young woman's organs are completely normal for a woman in her 20s. There's nothing indicating she should have the appearance she does." The team continued working in silence, processing the information as they assisted with the delivery. After a tense few minutes, the loud, clear cry of a newborn baby filled the room. A wave of relief washed over everyone present. "It's a boy," announced Dr. Carter, lifting the newborn so Mia could see him before the nurses took him to be cleaned and checked. Once assured of the baby's well-being, Dr. Carter refocused on Mia. With utmost care, he completed the operation, ensuring there were no complications. As Mia was moved to a recovery room, Dr. Carter removed his gloves and mask, still deep in thought. "We need to investigate this further," he said aloud, addressing the rest of the team. "Something here doesn't fit with what we know." Hours later, Mia began to regain consciousness. She slowly opened her eyes, blinking against the room's bright light. Beside her, a nurse held her baby, wrapped in a soft blanket. "Mia, your son is healthy and strong," the nurse said with a reassuring smile. "Would you like to hold him?" Mia nodded weakly, her eyes filling with tears as she took the little one in her arms. "Thank you. Thank you," she whispered, her voice breaking with emotion. The nurse watched the scene with tenderness before speaking again. "Mia, we need to talk to you about your condition. There are some things Dr. Carter needs to understand." Mia nodded, knowing this moment would come. "I know. I'm ready to explain." Dr. Carter entered the room, his face still reflecting the seriousness of the situation. He approached Mia's bed and sat in a nearby chair. "Mia, your internal organs are fully developed, like those of an adult woman," he began, choosing his words carefully. "However, your external appearance is that of a child. Can you help us understand how this is possible?" Mia nodded, adjusting the baby in her arms. "I have a rare condition called hypopituitarism," she explained in a soft but firm voice. "It affects my pituitary gland, preventing my body from growing and developing normally on the outside, even though I'm an adult woman on the inside." Dr. Carter nodded slowly, processing the information. "That explains a lot. But we need to document all of this correctly. We'll need to contact your previous doctors and get all the possible records. Mia looked at her baby and then back at the doctor. I understand. I'll do everything I can to help. At that moment, a nurse entered the room with a worried expression. Dr. Carter, there's something you need to know. Liam, Mia's husband, has been arrested by the police. They're accusing him of a serious crime. Mia felt as if the world was collapsing around her. No, this is a mistake, she exclaimed, her voice filled with despair. Liam is my husband. He hasn't done anything wrong. Dr. Carter stood up, his expression hardening. I'm going to speak with the authorities. We need to clear this up immediately. The following hours were a mix of anguish and waiting. Mia was interviewed by several nurses and doctors who tried to gather all the necessary information. At the same time, Dr. Carter contacted the doctors who had treated Mia in the past to obtain her medical records. Finally, Dr. Carter met with the police chief, Captain Thompson, in a private room at the hospital. Captain, I need to speak with you about Liam Jones, he began, his tone formal and urgent. I'm listening, Doctor, the captain replied, his face impassive. Liam is not a criminal. His wife, Mia, suffers from a rare medical condition that affects her physical growth, Dr. Carter explained, handing over a folder with the medical records. These documents prove it. The captain reviewed the documents carefully, his expression softening slightly as he read. I understand, Doctor. This is very unusual, but we'll do everything we can to clarify the situation. Meanwhile, in the recovery room, Mia held her baby tightly, praying that everything would be resolved soon. Finally, the door opened and Dr. Carter entered with an expression of relief. Mia, I have good news, he said softly. Captain Thompson has reviewed the documents, and they are willing to release Liam while we continue the investigation. Everything is going to be okay. Mia let out a sigh of relief, her tears falling freely. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you for everything. At that moment, Liam was escorted back into the room by 2 officers. His face showed signs of tension, but it lit up upon seeing Mia and their son. Mia, he whispered, approaching the bed. I'm here. Mia looked up, her eyes full of love and gratitude. Liam, everything is going to be okay now. We're going to get through this together. As the family reunited, Dr. Carter and his team continued working to document the case and ensure Mia and her son received the best possible care. Mia's case became one of the most memorable in Dr. Carter's career. Despite giving birth to a healthy baby boy, the fragility of her body, due to her small stature and medical condition, meant she needed to stay in the hospital for additional care. News of her case quickly spread throughout the hospital, generating both curiosity and deep empathy among the staff and other patients. Every day, Liam was by Mia's side, caring for her and the baby with a devotion that moved everyone who saw it. The nurses, accustomed to seeing all sorts of situations, couldn't help but feel a bit envious as they watched the attention and love Liam showed his wife. Mia, here's your breakfast, said one of the nurses, Mrs. Parker, with a warm smile as she placed the tray on the bedside table. Today we have oatmeal, orange juice, and some fresh fruit. Thank you, Mrs. Parker, Mia replied, struggling to sit up. Her voice was soft, but full of gratitude. Everyone here has been so kind to me. The nurse nodded, adjusting the pillows behind Mia to make her more comfortable. It's the least we can do. Your case is very special to all of us. At that moment, Liam entered the room, carrying little Noah, their newborn son, in his arms. His face lit up upon seeing Mia, and he leaned down to kiss her forehead. Good morning, my love, Liam said tenderly. "Noah and I have come to see you." Mia smiled, her eyes shining with love and gratitude. "Good morning, Liam. How is our little one?" "He's perfect," Liam replied, cradling the baby gently. "He's strong and healthy, thanks to you." Mrs. Parker watched the scene with a smile. "Liam, you're a wonderful father. We don't see someone as dedicated and loving every day." "Thank you, Mrs. Parker," Liam said, looking at Mia with adoration. "I would do anything for my family." Over the days, the relationship between Liam and Mia did not go unnoticed by other patients and hospital staff. Their love and dedication became a frequent topic of conversation, generating admiration and respect. One afternoon, while Liam was helping Mia walk down the hallway to strengthen her legs, an older patient, Mrs. Adams, approached them. "Excuse me," she said with a kind smile. "I just wanted to say that you both have inspired me a lot. Seeing the love and care you have for each other is truly beautiful." "Thank you, Mrs. Adams," Mia responded, leaning on Liam's arm. "We've been through a lot together, and we're grateful to have each other." Mrs. Adams nodded, her eyes full of understanding. "That's what matters. Love and family are the most important things in life." As the days passed, Mia gradually recovered, but her condition still required ongoing care. Every day, Liam made sure she was comfortable, bringing her fresh flowers, reading her favorite books, and ensuring she always had what she needed. One afternoon, as Liam was helping Mia settle in after a brief walk, one of the younger nurses, Miss Taylor, approached with a shy smile. "Excuse me," she said, a little nervous. "I just wanted to say that everyone here talks about how wonderful you are, Liam. The way you take care of Mia and your son is truly inspiring." Liam smiled, gently squeezing Mia's hand. "Thank you, Miss Taylor. I'm just doing what any husband would do for the woman he loves." Mia looked at Liam with tears of happiness in her eyes. "You're the best, Liam. I don't know what I would do without you." Miss Taylor nodded, visibly moved. "You're a very special couple. I hope both of you recover soon and can enjoy your life together." Liam and Mia's relationship not only touched the nurses but also the medical staff. Dr. Carter, who had been closely monitoring Mia's progress, often stopped by to talk to them. "Liam, Mia," Dr. Carter said one afternoon while reviewing Mia's chart, "I'm impressed with how you've handled this situation. Your love and dedication are truly remarkable." "Thank you, Doctor," Liam replied as Mia nodded in agreement. "We're grateful for everything you've done for us here." Dr. Carter smiled, closing the chart. "It's a pleasure to help such a strong and united family. Mia, your recovery is progressing well. With a little more time and care, you'll soon be able to go home." The doctor's words brought a wave of relief and hope to Mia and Liam. They knew the road to full recovery was still long, but they faced each day with determination and the unwavering support of those around them. As the sun set over the hospital, painting the sky with warm hues of orange and pink, Mia lay in her bed, with Liam and Noah by her side. She felt a deep peace and immense gratitude for life and the love she shared with her family. "Mia," Liam whispered, gently stroking her hair, "I love you more than anything in this world. Nothing will change that." "And I love you, Liam," Mia replied, her eyes filled with emotion. "Together we can overcome anything." At that moment, surrounded by the warmth and support of their loved ones and the hospital staff, Mia and Liam knew that no matter what challenges they faced, they would always have each other. Their love, stronger than ever, was the true force that sustained them and guided them toward a bright and hopeful future. After several weeks in the hospital, the day finally arrived when Mia, Liam, and little Noah could return home. The sun shone in the sky, a sign of a new beginning for the young family. Liam gently pushed Mia's wheelchair as she held Noah in her arms, his rosy face and bright eyes curiously taking in everything around him. "We're ready to go home, Mia," Liam said with a warm smile as he helped his wife slowly get up from the wheelchair. "Everything is going to be okay." "Yes, Liam. I'm ready," Mia replied, feeling a mix of excitement and relief. "I can't wait to start this new chapter with our family." As they left the hospital, they were greeted by a crowd of journalists and photographers. Camera flashes went off incessantly, capturing every moment as the family made their way to the exit. "Mia! Liam! How do you feel about going home?" shouted one of the journalists. "We feel incredibly blessed and grateful," Liam replied, gently squeezing Mia's hand. "The love and support we've received have given us the strength to overcome everything." "Mia, tell us about your experience in the hospital," another journalist asked, extending her microphone toward her. Mia smiled, her eyes filled with gratitude. "It's been a difficult journey, but we've had the support of a wonderful medical team and our family. I'm very grateful for all the love and care we've received." As they continued, the reporters kept asking questions, but Liam and Mia remained calm and thankful, aware that their story had touched many hearts. Once home, the family began to adjust to their new life together. Time passed quickly, and Noah grew up healthy and strong, surrounded by his parents' unconditional love. Liam and Mia's story became an inspiration to many, a reminder that true love can overcome any obstacle. 6 years later, on a quiet summer afternoon, Liam and Mia sat on their porch, watching Noah play in the garden. The setting sun bathed everything in a warm, golden light, and the air was filled with their son's laughter. "Look at our little one, Mia," Liam said with a smile, his eyes full of pride and love. "It's amazing how he's grown." "Yes, he's a wonderful child," Mia replied, holding Liam's hand. "I can't believe how much our lives have changed since he was born." Liam nodded, gently squeezing Mia's hand. "We've been through so much, but every moment has been worth it. I'm so grateful to have you and Noah." "And I have you, Liam," Mia said, her eyes filled with tears of happiness. "Your love and support have been my strength. I don't know what I would do without you." "I'll always be here for you, Mia," Liam said, leaning in to kiss her softly. "No matter what the future holds, I know we can face it together." At that moment, Noah ran towards them, his face lit up with a mischievous smile. "Mom, Dad, look what I found," he exclaimed, holding a small insect in his hands. Mia and Liam laughed, enjoying their son's pure joy. "That's wonderful, Noah," Liam said, patting his son's head. "You're an amazing explorer." As the sun set, the family stayed together on the porch, enjoying the tranquility and happiness of being together. Liam and Mia's story had not only been a testament to their love and strength, but also a source of inspiration for all those who had the fortune to know them. And so, surrounded by the love of their son and each other's unwavering support, Liam and Mia looked towards the future with hope and confidence, knowing that together they could face any challenge and celebrate every moment of their shared life. As we wrap up this emotional journey, let's take a moment to reflect on the story of Mia and Liam. This isn't just a tale of love, it's a profound exploration of resilience, compassion, and the strength of the human spirit. Mia's rare condition and her journey to motherhood highlight the incredible power of perseverance. Despite the immense challenges she faced, she never gave up. Liam's unwavering support and dedication exemplify the true meaning of love and partnership. Together, they showed us that love isn't just about the good times, but also about standing by each other in the toughest moments. Their story teaches us a valuable lesson about not judging others based on appearances or incomplete information. Liam and Mia faced judgment and prejudice, yet they remained strong and focused on what truly mattered, each other and their family. It's a reminder that every person has a unique story, and we should approach each situation with empathy and understanding. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What moments in this story moved you the most? What lessons did you take away? Please share your comments below. Let's start a heartfelt discussion. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more inspiring tales. Until next time, stay kind and keep spreading love.